Today I'm going to give you 7 things that I wish I knew before making the move out here to Thailand. So right now I am on the west side of the river taking a walk into the city here in Bangkok. It is a beautiful day. So join me on this walk and I'll tell you exactly what I wish I knew before making the move. So the first one is how little you actually integrate here. And this one really took me by surprise. So before I lived here, I lived in Seoul, South Korea, and I was completely integrated there. All my friends were Korean. I think I had just 2 Western friends. I spoke Korean. I was much more of a part of the community, especially like around where I lived. And I think culturally, my lifestyle was a lot more of a Korean style living over there. Now, when I came here and to make friends, it was a lot more challenging than I thought, especially meeting Thai guys. So it's really easy to meet Thai girls, but meeting Thai guys is a lot more challenging. A lot of that comes down to language barrier. And before you just jump in the comments and say learn Thai, this is a topic that I'll touch on a little bit later. For me, it took quite a while to make friends with Thai guys here. It ended up being when I started skating and when I started doing up my motorcycle. That's when I started to have things in common and I was able to meet people and kind of build connections that way by having something in common. But in terms of just meeting people, it was a lot harder than I first thought. What typically ends up happening, especially if you live in an area like Sukhumvit in Bangkok, or if you live in a more touristy or more westernized area, you live in this weird gray zone of half Thai, half Western culture. So really, while you are living here and you're settled and you're happy and everything, you haven't really integrated into the culture here. So this area that I'm in right now is Krang Thonburi, and this is my neck of the woods, and it's beautiful out here. It's still the outskirts of Bangkok, but it's a lot quieter. There's a lot more green. The sidewalks still aren't amazing, but they're definitely better here. So then number 2, and by far my most commonly asked questions, every video I put out, what visa are you on? What visa are you on? And I think the reason is a lot of people have concerns if you want to live in Thailand long term. Can you sort the whole visa situation? Now for me, when I lived in Korea, it was really hard to get visas over there. The advantage was the tourist visa was 3 months and you could do that, just had to do border runs. Japan was an hour away, so that's an easy one. But here you just don't know. You hear horror stories of people getting knocked back at the airport doing visa runs. And you just wonder, is it possible to get long-term visas here? When I moved here, I moved on the best visa. It was the DTV. It was a 9-month tourist visa. You didn't need to do border runs. And I had that twice. So I lived here for 1.5 years on that visa. But when that was coming to an end, I was really unsure about what I was going to do. Now, what I've come to realize in living here is the whole visa thing is easy money talks, basically. There's visa agents everywhere that want to help you. They won't get paid unless they help you get a visa. So it's in everyone's best interest. Thailand wants to have you here too. Spending your money here, getting the whole visa thing sorted is really not an issue. Speak to a visa agent, speak to a local one here. You can reach out to them and email them, or on your next trip out here, just go into a visa agent and speak to someone. I think for people that want to move out here, it is the biggest concern. Is it possible to get a visa? And the answer is yes. It's actually much easier than you think. And then number 3 is how much money you lose by moving money around here. And this one isn't a deal breaker. It's just something that probably would have been nice to know before coming over here. Now, this is another commonly asked question of mine. What is the best way to move money around here? And I mean, the real answer is there is no great way to do it. For example, if you use a foreign bank at an ATM, you pay an ATM fee of 200 baht. You actually don't need to pay that fee if you go into the bank and withdraw that way, but that can be quite annoying. Also, the currency conversions are often determined by your bank and the bank that you're withdrawing it from, and often they're not the actual currency conversion. And if you have multiple revenue streams like I do and money coming in different ways, you constantly have to move money around. I get some money into PayPal, I get some money into my Australian bank, I have to move money into my Thai bank. Moving all this money, you end up paying fees. So I use TransferWise, or Wise it's called now. I think that is the best way to put money into your Thai bank. But for this, you still end up paying, I think it's about a 2% fee to move that money. And while that doesn't sound like much, when you're transferring like a couple of $1,000s a month, that actually adds up to be quite a bit. In my case, I get a lot of money for my brand deals and stuff through PayPal. So I pay a fee to move the money from PayPal into, I can't move it into my Thai bank, so I need to move that into my Australian bank, pay the fee there. Then I move that into my Thai bank and then I'll pay the TransferWise fee there. Recently, Thailand is starting to get better with being able to use your card to tap. I have an international bank account that I pay the correct exchange rate when I use that card. But up until recently, you haven't been able to use that to just tap everywhere, and not everywhere accepts these cards. That's getting much better and you can use that more and more. So I do use that when I can. But all these little fees of moving money around is something that I didn't really take into consideration. And when you hear it's just a 2% fee or a 1% fee or whatever, it doesn't sound like that much. So if you move $3,000 in a month and you pay 2% on that, that's $60 you've just wasted there. Again, like I said, not a deal breaker, just would have been nice to know. Nearly lost the camera. That was a close one. Now, if you are planning to make the move out here to Thailand, or if you're just coming out here to visit, one thing I definitely recommend doing is making sure you have insurance. Those of you that know me will know I've been using and recommending Safety Wing basically since I moved out here. Back when I first moved out here, insurance was compulsory. They eventually did away with that, but I decided to stay with Safety Wing. I did a bunch of shopping around at that time, and Safety Wing was by far the best option out there. Now, in the interest of full transparency, I am an affiliate for Safety Wing, but I don't get it for free or anything like that. I still pay for this every single month because I do feel that they're the best option for me. What I really like about Safety Wing is they're both a health and a travel insurance, and they cover you for both. They have coverage for things like medical expenses of up to $250,000, ambulance and emergency transport. This is something that I will probably need at some point, but the travel side is also a huge bonus. They cover things like lost checked luggage, an unforeseen event in your home country, trip interruptions, personal liability coverage. This is a really awesome feature. So check out Safety Wing. All the information, everything you need to know is down in the description below, and stay safe whether you're traveling or planning to move here. Yeah, that cat just came out of nowhere. I think it chose me. I'm actually getting a cat real soon, but unfortunately the timing's not right. Otherwise I'd take you with me. Oh, I can't leave, it's following me. Oh, it's gonna break my heart. And it is an uncharacteristically beautiful day today. We've had insane weather lately, this wet season. But it's like blue sky, sunny, it is hot as hell. I'm loving it. All right, now the part of the video where I will probably get myself into trouble again. Let's talk about girls. So before moving out here, I underestimated how difficult it is, I'm trying to choose my words carefully here, how difficult it is to meet a girl, the right girl, someone that you would want to have a long-term relationship with. Now, given that I don't speak Thai, what you're looking for is quite challenging. You want ideally someone that speaks great English, someone that doesn't work in a bar or in the nightlife entertainment industry, someone who has their own thing going on, either they have a job or they study or something like that, and someone who's not looking for like a sugar daddy, basically. Finding someone that meets all this criteria is surprisingly difficult. Now, the immediate answer, and I'm sure there's people in the comments already typing this, just learn Thai. I will get it. This is going to be my next point. I will get into the difficulties about learning Thai. But if you do live here long term, inevitably you're going to want to sort of settle down with someone or get into a relationship. Now, in my experience, the majority of the girls that meet most of that criteria, maybe not the English one as much, they're not interested in having a foreign boyfriend. We don't necessarily have the best reputation. Plenty of guys have come over here and ruined that for us. But generally speaking, an educated Thai girl that has a job or a career or whatever, they generally want to be with Thai guys. A lot of this comes down to language barrier or differences in culture. And that's not to say all girls are like this. There is plenty that aren't like this, but finding them is a lot more challenging than you would think. Something I find really interesting is that out of my closest friends, 4 of the guys don't have a Thai girlfriend. I'm the same, my girlfriend's not Thai. And that's not to say there's anything wrong with Thai girls. I think Thai girls are some of the most beautiful girls in the world. But for whatever reason, for myself at least, finding a Thai girl that I wanted to settle down with, it was a lot harder than I expected. Can I get watermelon smoothie, please? Thank you. Oh, watermelon smoothie. Is there anything better on a hot day? The answer's no, by the way. All right. It's time to address language. Now, I'm sure at least one person has already written in the comments, just learn Thai. It's the answer to all the questions. I can tell you, anyone that writes or anyone that says just learn Thai, they can only speak one language. If you truly understand how much work it takes to learn a language. When I was in Korea, my Korean is pretty good, I guess you would say. I can read and write, I can have general conversations. I've been on a date with someone that didn't speak any English and I got through that fine. What it took me to get to that level is an unbelievable amount of commitment. It took a few years of really actively trying and learning and practicing and studying. It's almost like a full-time commitment. You don't just pick up what I always thought, you know, this immersion thing that people talk about, that you would just be somewhere. And yes, you pick up words all the time. I pick up new Thai words. Almost every day you'll pick up something, but you also forget things unless you're actively studying and memorizing and trying to learn more. My level of Thai is survival, basically. I can get around, I can order food, I can do my day-to-day things, I can read some words. But generally speaking, my Thai is not that great, I guess you'd say. And it just comes down to basically, I don't want to commit myself to that. It is really, really hard to learn a second language. As I mentioned, my partner's not Thai, so we don't speak Thai at home or anything. And the level that I know, I'm pretty comfortable with. It's just my day-to-day and everything that I need is, I'm fine. I don't really struggle with all that much. I think a lot of people do underestimate how difficult it is to, one, learn a language, but also learning Thai. Thai is a super complex language. There is 5 different tones, meaning you can say the same word 5 different ways, and it has 5 completely different meanings. This is what makes it really challenging. When I learned Korean, it's phonetic. So any word that I could read, I could pronounce it perfectly right off the bat. There's no tone, there was no any of that. It was a lot easier to learn. So the question is, will I learn more? I don't know. I'll probably continue to pick bits up at the rate I have been, but I don't see myself sitting down and doing Thai lessons or anything like that. I'm just not prepared to commit myself to how much work it takes. Bad foreigner. Yeah, I know. My Thai's okay, but it's not great. Now, this next one is not something that I've personally struggled with, but I know a lot of people that have, so I do think it is worth addressing. And that's finding your friends or finding your circle of friends that are people on your level. Now, for me, I'm in a very unique position being a YouTuber. I was able to make friends with other YouTubers quite quickly and easily here, but I know a lot of people that have moved out here, and it's kind of hard to find your circle of friends. A lot of people that are based here in Bangkok are either just here to party or to retire. There are people that come out here to start up business and entrepreneurs and people chasing dreams, but meeting other people like that is where the challenge lies. My good mate Sam down in Pattaya is a great example of this. He has a hard time finding younger people that are sort of driven and motivated. Pattaya is a place where a lot of people go to sort of settle down or to retire. And you're making friends with people that don't have that same ambition, so they can sleep in or whatever. They can go out partying all the time. They can do whatever they want. They don't have the same hustle that you would have. It's really easy if you're into drinking and partying because you'd be out in bars all the time, and that's where you get chatting with people and socializing and everything. But if you're not, if you're trying to come out here and set up a business or do something like that, that's where the challenge really is. I thought when first moving out here, expat Facebook groups might be a good place to meet people, and my God, that is a that is a toxic place to be. I think second only to Reddit is the the expat Facebook groups here. So what is the answer? I'm sure there are really good Facebook groups if you niche down. Don't just go on Bangkok expats, because ones like that are kind of toxic. But if you, whatever your passion or interest is, if you niche down into that in a Facebook group, you'd be able to find people, like-minded people that way. Otherwise, things like networking events are a great place to meet people. It's challenging. It's one of the biggest challenges you'll face moving abroad, is finding like-minded people, finding your tribe, as my mom would say. My God, it is hot as hell. So I was planning on walking all the way to Lumpini Park today, but I think I'm gonna scrap that. It's amazing weather. I'm going home and jumping in the pool, but don't go anywhere because I have one left and I've saved the best for last. Well, this was completely unintentional, but this is actually the perfect place to end this video. So the last thing that I guess took me by surprise moving out here, and that I didn't expect when I first moved out here, is how much I would fall in love with living in Thailand and how much this would become my home. So I moved here back in 2021 when the world was crazy. It was basically a stepping stone on my way to get back into Korea, which I never managed to get there. And then I've since got myself an entire life here, and I've just fallen in love with living here. Obviously, I'd been here on holidays. I think I'd been here 7 times before, just traveling, and I didn't plan on living here. I've told this story many times, but I've just fallen in love with the place. I am so happy here, and living here has just amplified that. I've found this amazing place to live. This community here is incredible. It's such a lovely place to live. You can see this pool and green space is really nice, but just this actual community, the neighbors I have, everyone that lives here is unbelievably friendly and welcoming. Everyone says hello to each other. There is a real sense of community here that I really like, and just lovely unexpected things like my next door neighbor, he lives opposite me. He makes me food from time to time. He's a chef, and he'll just make some food and he'll bring it over. Oh, try this. And we make some food. We say we. My girlfriend makes some food and we'll take it over to him. In exchange, we gave him some kimchi this morning. But this sense of community that I have here and living here, and just all the lovely people and amazing experiences I've had in this beautiful country, I wasn't expecting that moving out here, and I don't see myself leaving anytime soon.